Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Racing Retro. We've got a jam-packed show for you, plenty of guests as we review all the big days racing yesterday. Trust you well. Good morning to Joe McKinnon, who's back with us this week after a trip out west to Wellington. Yesterday, a big day at Warwick Farm.
Yeah, despite the wet weather, no denying the quality of racing action yesterday. It was pretty good.
Super Days racing yesterday at Flemington. We have a very special guest. It was the biggest day of his riding career so far, and we're delighted to have him with us, of course, winning on Miss Penny Money in the Newmarket, Dan Beasley. How are you, mate?
Very well, thank you, Graham. Very well.
You come down to earth now, mate?
Yeah, it's been pretty overwhelming. It sort of probably really hasn't hit home yet, but, you know, it was a great day, one that I'll never forget.
You betcha. We'll talk more on that in a moment. John Tapp, what a day yesterday.
Yeah, I'm delighted. Well done, mate.
Tade very much, John.
I'm his greatest fan, as you know. Old aerodynamic Danny, and I'm sure his aerodynamics made her go even a fraction faster yesterday, but what a filly.
Yeah, her win was just tremendous yesterday. She had to sort of make her own play down the outside of the track, and she just ran outside the record, and yeah, it was probably best three-year-old filly in Australia at the moment.
Well, speaking of dynamic, we've got a dynamic young trainer in Melbourne with our duo, Richard Friedman, Simon Marshall. Good morning to you, with none other than the trainer, Jim Conlon. Hello, fellas.
Good morning, Shadow. It's an absolute cracking morning here in Melbourne. It's Grand Prix day, and as you can see, the race course here. What a great weekend for people to come to Melbourne. They can come and they can see the Grand Prix, and they can go to the races on the Saturday and the Monday, see the Newmarket and the Australian Cup. What a fabulous weekend. And we've got the dynamic trainer in condition worse for wear, Jim Conlon.
Good morning. Yeah, been better.
Fantastic results, and deserved to party hard last night, Jim. What a great day.
Yeah, although the guys that own the horse, Nick Turnbull and Peter Hoban, they weren't in their best form last night. Both of them have been a bit crook, and
so you had to lead from the front?
Yeah. But look, it was a great night.
The highs are high, Jim.
Yeah, no, they're good, aren't they?
All right, Shadow.
Let's relive the great moment, John. Why don't we do that?
Yep, $500,000 on offer for this historic straight 1,200 metres event at Flemington. You see some terrific work here from the tracking camera, and when they get down near the 200 metres mark, you won't believe how easily Miss Penny Money is travelling. She's alongside some of the best sprinters in Australia, and they just can't go slow enough for her, or she can't go slow enough for them. Here's the action. From a race caller's viewpoint, there is no tougher task than a straight six at Flemington, and Greg Miles absolutely excelled.
Flew out of the gates and headed straight for the rail. Vetiver got away quickly, so did Black Bean, showing speed in the early part as Suit down there, and also Magic Music heading across towards the leading horses when they settle down. Spargo was out wider, followed by Typhoon Barney. Out on the grandstand side now, and plenty of pace from Natois with Rancho Spark Theatre against the rail. Dandelar is up with them too, followed by Ab Initio, Toledo, Miss Penny Money just behind them, and Sports. They're the horses down the grandstand side. On the flat, and Magic Music had gone to the lead here, over a point into second, followed by Sports, and behind those is Felvalon ready to pounce, and so is Giscard a little wider out. They were clear of Spargo, and then came Black Bean and Caniana down the grandstand side now, and Natois and Rancho Spark the leaders. Miss Penny Money's ready to go, and then Toledo on the other side, and here comes Felvalon. Felvalon sprinting at the 200 metres, took over the running. Black Bean's coming after him, and Miss Penny Money will clear the grandstand side. Felvalon with El Morada, Black Bean and Miss Penny Money on this side. Black Bean getting to Felvalon, Miss Penny Money on the grandstand side. She might have won it on the outside, close between them. Miss Penny Money out wide, and on the fence we've got Black Bean and Felvalon.
What a sparkling call. 9-2 Miss Penny Money, 7-1 Black Bean, 3-1 favourite Felvalon. Dan, you're near horses like Ab Initio and Theatre and Dantelar and Rancho Spark. You were just jogging along. Did you want something to take you into the race a bit further, did you?
Yeah, that's right, John. Like, my pre-race plan was to, whatever side I come down, was to, at the sort of probably the 200 metre mark where I was getting towards the front, I still wanted to be sort of probably about 2 lengths off them and just coming into the race. But she was just going that easy, and as you say, I couldn't have her going any slower, and I had to really end up riding her solo, and making my own play because
Getting late.
it was getting a bit late, yeah.
Danny, is it true that you went out with a plan originally to go across to the inside rail as opposed to the grandstand side, but then Natois carted you to the outside rail?
Yeah, when I first done my own sort of looking at the race, my option was to go to the outside, and then after I spoke to a few people during the day and then spoke to Jim, and Jim thought the best option was to go to the inside. There would be more horses to bring us into the race. And I said to Nash Rawiller in the barriers, I said, where are you going? And he said, out. And I said, well, I haven't got much choice, like, so yeah. I went back to sort of my plan, and like, I wasn't that worried because I thought that those horses like Ab Initio and that Rancho Spark and sort of Natois, Danila, they would take me into the race, and sort of getting to the 200 when I was going so easily and they had started to drop off, I was thinking, just got to throw everything out the window and just go solo, and it worked out for the best.
Jim, what did you think when he made that decision to go to the outside?
I thought, oh, you know, look, there was originally, we thought maybe going to the outside might be the go because all the speed was out there, but I walked the track yesterday. Oh no, well no, it would have been Friday. I walked the track on Friday, and I thought if there was any strip of the track that was any quicker, it might have been hard up against the fence. Not that I thought we'd get there, but I thought I wanted to be in contact with the horses that were getting to the line hard up against the fence. And so I thought maybe we should go to the inside and we can probably find some cover and then chase home the horses that, you know, would be getting to the line at the finish. But now I think I've lost track of what was the question.
It's a good morning. Going to the outside.
Right. Now, the outside, one of my concerns was that the one time she had raced up the straight, she just wanted to lay in that little bit when the pressure was on her, but, you know, she's more experienced now, and so that didn't end up being a problem for her.
Jim, knowing you had a tough 1,400-metre filly on your hands, were you really worried that you got to the front that soon?
Look, it was a little bit of a concern. I actually got Roy Higgins to have a talk to Danny about this track. I know Danny had ridden here before, but, you know, it's quite a difficult track to ride, and, you know, I was very grateful for Roy's advice to Danny, and one of the things he said was how important patience was with this track.
No, I'm going to jump in. I was just going to ask, now, Danny Beasley, who's not a regular in Melbourne anymore, he's based in Sydney, and you're not really a regular visitor to Sydney. How did you choose Danny to ride her after you sacked Brett Treble before the futurity?
No, look, sack's too harsh a word. Look, there's you look for certain styles for certain horses, and I think Danny's style of riding, where he doesn't rely on the whip to get him to the line. He's very strong hands and heels, and I think that's perfect for this particular filly. And you can see him there. I mean, I think I've watched the replay a few times, and Danny hit her twice with the whip, and, you know, she's still run 1/10 of a second outside the track record. So it just sort of indicates our decision to use him, that she doesn't necessarily need that hard riding.
Jim, it's a long straight at Flemington, the last 50 metres, trying to get a guide on the inside and the outside. Your feelings, you must have thought you were going to win the race with 50 to go.
Look, I thought that she was very close. I actually had to get it confirmed by a few people around me that she had actually won, even though the margin, I think, ended up being a length. Before I ran out and made a complete fool of myself, I wanted to make sure she had won the race. So
reality sets in, Jim.
Yeah.
What a day! I mean,
then I made a complete and utter fool of myself. Yeah.
We're talking about the highs are high in racing.
Yeah, look, they're great, and I think really it's important that, you know, when you do get them, particularly if you've got a small team, you know, some of the bigger trainers get a bit blasé about it when they win a big race, but, you know, with a small team, you just really want to, you know, take it all in.
You want to say anything to Dan at this point in time?
Congratulations, Dan, and we'll catch up with you in Sydney.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
I'd like to say something to Dan while he's there, because I remember Dan Beasley when he was just a milky little boy in the stable down here in Melbourne, and I think it's absolutely fantastic, the leaps he's made through the grades, and that comes from a lot of hard work and a lot of And a lot of ability as well. So, you know, I really take my hat off to you, Dan.
This is Jan Daru winning it all.
Vision of the young Dan Beasley here, punching one out, not producing the shillelagh there neither.
That's not punching one out. That's just hanging on to one that's going to win. And that's how much Dan's improved.
Dan, I've got a question to ask you. You mentioned yesterday when we asked your wife to come on board that she happened to turn your life around at a situation. Do you want to explain that?
Probably when I first come out of my time, Simon, probably just didn't really apply myself as well as I probably should have. Just probably was enjoying the good life a bit too much, and Karen, when I met Karen, probably she just grabbed hold of me and said, like, what are you doing? Like, you've got all the ability there, and you should be using it. You should be putting it to the floor. So it was sort of went back to the basics, went and put my head down, knuckled down, and probably grew up a little bit, you know, and started to apply myself, and yeah, the rewards just have kept rolling on.
Dan, when did you decide that the European style was best for you?
It was something that I probably first discovered when I went on my trip with Monopolize to Hong Kong, and when I come back, I just kept moulding myself and just working on it. It's taken a long while to sort of perfect it, and yeah, but slowly still getting there, but still got improvement there.
Yeah. And Frankie Dettori, of course, was your inspiration.
Yeah, I think...
One of several.
Yeah, he's so flamboyant and such a character. He really gets you in, and his style is very unique, and something that is captured my imagination, and yeah, he's been a bit, like, even though I don't really know him, like, really, no. He's been a big influence on my career.
You did meet him and you didn't wash your hand for a week, did you?
That's right.
He was your idol.
By the way, we just saw you on Jan Daru, winning on Jan Daru in 1993 when you were an apprentice at Albury.
Yeah.
So that's 7 years ago. I'd just like to very quickly ask Jim Conlon, the tremendous improvement in Miss Penny Money this campaign. It's quite remarkable, Jim.
Yeah, look, she's a filly that's she was basically immature. She had a 2-year-old pedigree, but mentally and physically she just wasn't ready for the rigours of racing as a 2-year-old. There was a fair bit of pressure on me to try and get her going as a 2-year-old, and unfortunately she felt the pressure, and even though she was being competitive, you know, I always felt that it was probably the wrong thing by keeping going as a 2-year-old. And then when she came back as a 3-year-old, Nick Turnbull had bought John Massara out of the horse, and I said to him, look, we're just going to have to burn a couple of races and really concentrate on getting this filly to settle. And, you know, in the long run, I'm sure it's going to pay off for us.
Jim, she won a race at Moonee Valley, and I suppose I just can't remember that race. She beat one of your stablemates,
yeah,
I think.
She won, I think it was called the Great Western.
Yeah, did she beat Luzon? Did you know you were on the right track then?
Yeah, look, that was, you know, there was a couple of signs earlier in that. She actually won the Tranquil Star, I think, a couple of weeks before that, and she settled beautifully. Patrick Payne rode it that day and finished the race off really strongly. And but she had a very ordinary preparation going into it. She'd had to do a lot of work at the barriers. We had to then burn her in a couple of races where we dragged her out the back and, you know, tried to get her to settle, and so she didn't have the ideal preparation. So what she achieved...
That wouldn't contravene the rules, would it?
No. She was trying very hard, but she was trying out the back very hard, you know.
We just had to clear that up for the people at home.
And so she did a great job to get to that level, even with all those things going on.
Come a long way from the Cranbourne days, Jimmy. When I was a kid growing up, you were down there doing your best.
Yeah, well,
he hasn't come a long way, I can tell you. He's a good mate of mine, and I can tell you he's absolutely no different.
No, I know that, but, you know, those days, but they were pretty tough.
Yeah, look, they were. I think you actually rode my first group winner for me as the Blood Horse Breeders, which Freedman's won yesterday.
You still can't remember the name of the horse, can you? You're filling in here, but you can't get it.
Excited Angel. No,
Excited Angel.
I remember her. She's always easy to pull out that one.
She'd won a maiden at Moe and then went boom, didn't she?
Yeah, it was a great thrill. And she ended up going on to be a terrific mare.
All right, well, there was a victory by Miss Penny Money for Dan Beasley, Jim Connell yesterday, but there was others that were beaten in the race too, John.
Yeah, a lot of them, in fact, and we're going to speak to some of the riders of the beaten brigade after the Newmarket 2000.
Probably having not as much speed on the inside as what was on the outside probably might have made a bit of a difference, but I mean, he's run up to his best. They've run a sensational time, you know, and I honestly think he's run up to his best.
We led the near side to the shadows of the post, and Blackbean just got him towards the end there. Difficult to say how or where the filly was on the outside because they're so wide apart. You really just got to ride your own race on the inside, but he only got caught in the shadows of the post, and a very brave run.
Great effort. Travelled really good in the run. Just when the winner went, it sort of cantered past us really easy, and we've probably taken a bit of ground off it on the line. Just the 58 probably pulls him up a little bit.
Yeah, last year a length and a quarter, this year probably a length and a half. You know, I thought he was going to catch him at the clock tower, and he just peaked on his run. So second up, it was a great run. He's got, you know, he's back to his best.
Yeah, good effort today. Like, she's improved a lot since the run in the Oakley Plate. She's gone ahead nice, and like, she led and probably had to do a little bit harder. Would have rather had the sit, but she done a fair bit of the work and just really got tired probably the last 80 metres. So she's on target for Dubai now.
Good on you, Pumper. OK, one of the co-features yesterday was the Cuny Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies. And you just don't see horses get a run as charmed as this one, Yuma Line. She's in front of only a couple as they near the turn into the straight and doesn't go around a single horse.
Inside of Grand Echezo, and then Recce, who races over on the outside of Yuma Line when they go past the 800-metre mark. Then Highgrove Shazoo starting her run, heaps of fun, and Orange Grove are the last couple when they swing the corner at the 650-metre mark. I'm a Ripper had moved up on the outside of Sheltnut as they swing around the turn. Dannerich going for the run in the centre of those, and then Forest Express fourth when they corner, followed by Super Sequel and then Brulant. Yuma Line down on the inside. Grand Echezo pulls out, and Highgrove is coming with her down the outside. Sheltnut at the 350 being tackled by Dannerich. Grand Echezo running on with Super Sequel. Getting a run on the inside is Yuma Line. Yuma Line has burst through along the rail. Grand Echezo out wide, and Yuma Line go to the lead together with Highgrove down the outside. Yuma Line on the inside. Grand Echezo dying on a run. Yuma Line's a length in front, holds her at bay, and Yuma Line beats Grand Echezo by a length in the Cuny. Getting up for third, Brulant along the inside of Highgrove with a gap to Heaps of Fun, and they were followed by Forest.
12-1 Yuma Line with Craig Williams on board. Got a beautiful run through. Three's favourite Grand Echezo. 16-1 Brulant, ridden by Glenn Boss, who was over from Hong Kong. Now, Richard, before we cross to you, I think we might hear from the winning trainer, Colin Little, and winning jockey, Craig Williams.
Craig, well done. Group 2 today. How does that relate with Yuma Line winning the Cuny in the Craig Williams career?
Oh, well, she's taking the front row of my mantelpiece now, that's for sure.
She was strong too. Just watching the replay, Grand Echezo really did loom up probably 100, 200 from home.
Yeah, that's right. I got the good runs through where probably Grand Echezo had to go around him, and I was able to take those runs, and then as a fact, I probably got there a little bit too soon. I tried to help her and let her down, but she really sprinted good. It was really full credit to her because she really toughed it out.
And going to the Moonee Valley Oaks too next start, the distance will be ideal by the looks of it anyway. Yeah, well, there you go. Horses can prove you wrong. I was glad she did today. I really felt when I rode her 2 starts ago, I still felt that probably the mile might have been a little bit too short for her. With probably lack of pace in the race, but as it turned out, they went nice and steady, and she surprised me because she sprinted really well, and I can't wait for the Moonee Valley Oaks. Well, Colin, well done with Yuma Line. I guess this is a horse that's only recently come into your stable from Adelaide.
That's right. John Hall trains his horse in Adelaide, and he didn't want to make the trip to Melbourne. I don't know why, but he asked me just to simply take it over for the Triple Crown series. So we're delighted to have the opportunity of training such a lovely filly. Well, no surprise today because Caulfield was really good, but you sort of been saying progressing up to the Moonee Valley Oaks distance will be ideal. Yes, she's a filly that probably needs 2,000. We had to keep her a little fresh for today's 1,600 to leave a little bit of ping in her, and I'm sure that she'll be better off over the 2,000. She just seems a nice type though, just even walking around in the yard before the race. She's a lovely, relaxed filly, doesn't take it at all seriously. She's virtually bomb-proof. You just can't upset her.
Colin Little. Richard, Grand Echezo, it raced up. I thought it was going to go straight past it there as they came to the 200-metre mark. Seemed to die on its run, but nonetheless, it wasn't disappointing.
No, I think we were very pleased with her. She raced from well back in the field. She didn't get the run along the fence like Umaline did, so she had to spend a bit more energy going around the field rather than just taking the shortcut through.
It's fair to say there was a fast lane there too, Richie.
There was a little bit of a fast lane against the inside rail. If you got on it, it seemed to be an advantage, and I think Damien tried to get as close to it as he could, but in the end, the other filly had that fast lane and was able to hold Grand Echezo. But Grand Echezo is really making the steps now, stepping up every time, and you know, every start now she's stepping up to a high level, and I think she's a Zabeel filly, you know, she'll probably be better next year, so you know, we're pretty excited about her.
Richie, I like the way she puts herself into a race. She's got a great turn of foot.
She has. She's got that acceleration, and that probably, you know, that comes down her dam line. I think the Zabeel puts the stamina in, and she had a mare called Richeborg who you know, really had a bit of a turn of foot, and it goes, you know, it's augured well for her. Can you hear that?
But then going back to, the Formula One.
The Formula One cars
are about 8 k's from the track, and we can hear them. But getting back to Umaline, I think what Colin Little did say, that she is bomb-proof. She settles back in her races, she goes through a field, nothing tends to worry her, and she has got a great turn of foot, so she's going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, she will for sure. A good filly, Umaline, and you know, Colin, I bet he wishes he could hang on to her, Jim, because that's a real find, that one.
Yeah, I think I do think she's going to probably stay over here.
Yeah.
I don't know what the story is, but I got the impression from Colin that she was going to stay here.
Yeah.
Jim, you were wrapped. You got the quaddie. Hey? Paid a little bit better there too.
My wife got the quaddie.
And by the way, just keep the question short for Jim this morning, all right?
Yeah.
No, paid her right too, the quaddie, if memory serves me correctly. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Jim, just before you go, I suppose in essence, when you think of this exciting filly that you've got under your care and what happened yesterday, you have to pinch yourself.
He's cut out, I can't.
Yeah, we didn't hear the last bit of your question, Graham.
Got to pinch yourself, Jim.
No, I was just saying, after this exciting filly that you have, and bearing in mind the success in the Newmarket yesterday, you'd be pinching yourself.
Yeah, look, she's you know, she's amazing how well she is going, and you know, we've got a hell of a lot of, you know, racing ahead of us with her, and it really is exciting. It's sort of horses you really look for, isn't it? You know, they're honest and they try. I mean, this preparation, she's had 5 starts, 4 of those are Group 1, and she's won 2 of them and run second in the other 2 to probably the best 3-year-old colts that are around. So, yeah, it is great.
Graham, on the breeding side of it, it's probably worth a mention that this filly is by Brocco, who is rapidly emerging as a filly sire. Yeah. That young one of Guy Walters that bolted in yesterday at Warwick Farm, Speciality. She's right. A Brocco filly. As is Speedy Bell, who won the Jim Crack Stakes so easily for Steve Engelbrett. Yeah. He gets good fillies, Jim.
Yes, he does seem to be doing quite well with the fillies. Probably the more significant part of this, of Miss Pennymoney's pedigree, is the female side, where she's out of a mare called Bold Promise, who has already produced a Golden Slipper winner in Merlin, and I mean, she's got you know, enormous residual as a broodmare, this filly. You know, in foal to a horse like Danehill should just be worth a fortune.
Millions.
Millions, yeah.
Just quickly, where do we see her line up next, Jim?
It'll be one of 2 things. I think she'll go to, she'll definitely go to Sydney, and she will either go towards the Surround Stakes and the All-Age Stakes, or she'll be kept fresh and go to the Galaxy.
And one quick one. What about all this talk of the Breeders' Cup? What's all this about? It's in the paper this morning.
Do you remember that, what I mentioned about making a complete fool of myself when I first came out? That's probably all part of that. It's, look, I mean, who knows?
You guys are happy and you know it.
Yeah, happy and you know it. Went over there and was successful in the Breeders' Cup, and I mean, why not? You get a horse like this, and you know.
Oh, she'd be up to it. It's just whether you'd want to go. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, yeah, that's right. Anyway, at the time, it seemed a good idea.
It all starts with the dream, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right, Jim. Well, listen, thank you so much for taking time out and joining us on the show this morning. Look forward to seeing you in Sydney. And you can go home and have a little bit of a rest, mate. And we really appreciate it. And congratulations once again on the feat for Miss Pennymoney yesterday. May it continue.
All right, good. Now, look, the most important thing, I've got to say hello to Darcy and Bella. Oh, yeah. They'll be watching. And Madeline, of course.
They're his kids and his wife.
Yeah.
Oh, right. All right. Good. Now, clear
Thanks
that.
for those sentiments too.
Thanks for the quaddie.
Righto, Jim, thank you very much. And we're delighted to have him on the show this morning. By the way, there's the half-brother, I think it is, to Miss Penny Money coming up at the William Inglis Easter sales on offer. So there you go. Okay. Danny, I think, are you staying with us? He's staying with us a bit longer, isn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he is. Yeah. Would you stay with us a bit
Entirely up to him.
Yeah, all right. Okay, what we're going to do, thanks again to Jim Conlon. We're going to take a break and just have a little bit more of Dan Beasley and Miss Penny Money on the day that he'll never forget.
Straight with about 300 to go, and Valley Warrior's the leader, about a long neck in front of the dark on the inside. Miss Ketter's putting a run on the outside, then Camarina, and further back the Speaker's Bureau. Here's the little mare, Miss Kent on the outside, going out after Valley Warrior. Valley Warrior's kicking back, Miss Kent's having another go, and Camarina between those gets up. Oh, Camarina on the line. A super effort. Camarina has beaten either Miss Kent or...
Well, the winner of last year's Queensland Derby, Camarina, winning at Canberra on Thursday, not by a big margin, but the silly part is, had they gone another 50 metres, she'd have won by 4 lengths. She was just joining in.
Yeah, good to see her back, eh?
It is good, yeah. John had a big day, John Morrissey.
5 winners.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. He does it often. OK, back to the first event yesterday at Flemington. This was the autumn hurdle over 2,800 metres, and here's the action.
Has a good lead with 2 to jump. He's done it all so far. He leads from Sir Rosebank second, Sheridan the outside, and then Nitro as they come along to the second last. Kilcool's jumped it well. He's still about 3 to 4 lengths in front. They haven't taken any ground off him yet. Sir Rosebank second, Nitro's got the third. Commandant is struggling at the last. Kilcool clipped the top of it, but he's still 5 clear with 200 to run. Here's Nitro getting into second placing. Sir Rosebank battling along strongly. Kilcool clear with 100 metres to go. Wayne Smith keeping him going, and he's going on to score well. Kilcool wins it by about 3.5 lengths on the line from Nitro second and Sir Rosebank third. They're followed by We Ourselves.
8 to 1, 15 to 1, 5 to 1. Commandant was the unplaced favourite at 11 to 8. Now straight on to the second race, a race with an exotic name, the Flemington Rose. It sounds like a fillies race, but it's not. 1,800 metres. In fact, the winner, Tahuna Gold, is a gelding.
At the 500, a length and a half clear from Noble Sensation. Just behind those horses, then getting through on the inside is Tahuna Gold. This has got to run right through the pack and is about to challenge the filly. Here's Zaro coming home well on the outside, and then Tariyama. It's Tahuna Gold with 200 metres to go, sprinting quickly and going to the lead. It's Tahuna Gold with Zaro coming after it, then Banff Connection, and they've got away on the rest of them. Tahuna Gold at the 100-metre mark is in front by a half to Zaro, who's trying hard, but Tahuna Gold, what a great ride by Spiteri. Tahuna Gold beats Zaro by half a length. 3 to Banff